Hello everyone and welcome back to Jacqs Scraps. Thanks for joining me today for part 2 of my Winterland Mini Album tutorial. When I closed out my first video, I mentioned that you should go ahead and create the cover for the album, and I provided a video for you from Tamara Merrill of Country Craft Creations showing you how to create the lay flat cover. And I'm just providing some photos here of how you go through the steps to do that. But again, I'll link Tamara's video until I get my own personal single video out there on how to create a cover. So make sure you have your cover created. That is 7 by 9 with a 2-inch spine. Now let's move on to the rest of the tutorial. Okay, we just finished creating the base pages and getting those prepared for our pattern paper. Now, before we go into decorating our pages, I thought we would work on the front and back inside cover. And we're going to start with the back cover first. We're going to start by adding our pattern paper onto the back of our cover. One of the things that I did as I was getting everything prepared is I had cut out all of my pattern paper, and then I felt that the black cardstock was really just too dark for this type of album. You know, it's a Winterland album. You think snow, blues, very light colors, right? It's a light atmosphere. And I felt that the black was just too dark. So I decided to add a matte behind all of my pattern paper. Now, if you follow Country Craft Creations, you know that we have a designer there, Tiffany, who is the matting queen, and she double mats everything. And it's awesome, but I have never done that before. I may have done it here or there, but I've never done an entire album. And I actually did that with this album. Now, that is an optional feature. You do not have to double mat. You can just put down your pattern paper and it will still look absolutely beautiful. I mean, I still like it against the black, but it's just not the feeling that I was trying to evoke, I guess. And so when I add it with my mat here, which is a white shimmer mat, look how nice that looks. It just gives you kind of a little bit more of that wintry feel. And that's the feeling I wanted. I also have another technique that we'll be doing to give it a little bit more of a snowy effect. So for this is the My Colors Polar Bear 12 by 12 sheets. I used about 8 of these if you want to do the matting. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. Just don't do that part. So definitely get your pen and your little notepad ready, because from this point forward, there'll be a step in between there, but from this point forward, I'll be giving you the measurements for all of the pattern paper. So let's get started. For the back inside cover, my matting piece is 6 7/8 by 8 7/8. And as I mentioned, you may not want to double mat the way I did, because I do get into the 8s measurements. Did I mention that? I don't know. I've recorded this part 3 times now. But my matting pieces are in the 8s measurements because I had already cut my pattern paper and I wasn't about to go back and recut these. First, I didn't have enough pattern paper, and second, I didn't want to have to do it. Okay, so enough of that explanation. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and give you this measurement. This is 6 3/4 by 8 3/4, and these will go on top of each other. Now for the front, I wanted to do another type of waterfall. So you are going to need 1 piece of cardstock that measures 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. Then you're going to need 4 pieces of cardstock, and these measure 5 by 6 1/2. I always do width and then height, if you haven't picked up on that yet. And what you want to do is score all 4 of those on the short side at a 1/2 inch. Okay, I know I've stopped bringing out my scoreboard. I don't know that you need to see me reenact it. Just know that you're going to score a 1/2 inch on the short side, all 4 pieces. Fold and burnish, fold and burnish. You're going to have 2 of these with the hinge on the left-hand side, 2 with the hinge on the right-hand side. We'll be putting our single piece down, and then we're going to be layering on these pieces. And what you end up with is another waterfall. It just goes side to side, like a side-to-side waterfall. And it doesn't even really look like a waterfall, because the way that we're creating this is that they're all going to be stacked on top of each other. So they're going to all look like one piece, just like that. There's no staggering, okay? You're also going to need another piece of cardstock that we're going to use for the closure, 2 3/8 by 6 1/2. Now I will show you this with the scoreboard, just so that I get it right. So on the short side, you're going to score at 1 3/4, and then you're going to score at 1 7/8. It's the little mark right next to it. Okay? Go ahead and fold and burnish on those. And this is going to be the closure. I think I said that. And for this, I'm going to use my WRMK's 3-way punch here. And I think I'm going to curve just the 2 sides, not where the hinge is. Let's use the 7mm or whatever size you like. Just keep that handy, because we'll need to do our pattern paper. So let me go ahead and give you the pattern paper for this as well. So here's my matting piece. Again, this is optional. 1 5/8 by 6 3/8. And then we have our pattern piece, which is 1 1/2 by 6 1/4. Now I'm going to go ahead and round 2 sides of these pieces. Okay, now let's go ahead and start putting this all together and laying it down. Probably going to speed through this part. I'm getting more on myself than I am anything else. We want to take our single cardstock that we have, and one of the pieces that have a hinge on it on the left-hand side, and we're going to add adhesive to the inside. So we're just going to line these up right up to the score line, but don't go over. And then go ahead and burnish that down. You can always fold over to make sure that nothing is getting in the way. Now we'll take one of the cardstock with the hinge on the right-hand side. We're going to do the same thing. Add adhesive to the inside of that hinge. Again, we're going to line these 2 pieces up to the score line, but not going over. Make sure that the tops are aligning and that everything is nice and smooth. Let's go back to one with the hinge on the left-hand side. For this one, we're going to add adhesive to the outside of the hinge. We're going to add this to the top of the left-hand side piece. All right, our little photo mat. Just line those up on the side and the top. Let's take our last piece with the hinge on the right, add adhesive to the outside of that hinge. Let's open this up to where we have the right-hand panel visible, and we're going to add this to the top of that, just like we did the other one. Adding it to the edge of the cardstock, smoothing out the sides and the edge. This should all be in alignment. Okay, now we have all of our pages attached. One folds down, the other one folds down, and so on. We have our little stack, right? Now we're going to attach our closure to our little booklet here, and we're going to add adhesive to the inside of the hinge. The 1/8 inch right here will be like a gusset. We're going to take our booklet, flip this over, and we're going to add it right here where we already added our hinge from our page. Line everything up, make sure it's snug, but see that? It has just enough room to hold all of those pages together. So go ahead and burnish that down. It's like a little booklet. Oh, so fun. Okay, now what I'm going to do is add 2 magnets on here. I tried it with one and it was just really too open for me. So you can use magnets or you could even use Velcro dots. Either one will work. I'm going to go in about 5/8 of an inch or 1/2 inch, something like that. So I started to put the pattern paper on here, and then I remembered I wanted to do a little technique on the pattern paper before putting it down. I already forgot it on this one, and I don't even know if I'll be doing it on the white pieces, but I wanted to take a moment to share that with you. And this is an optional technique that you can do. You could certainly eliminate it if you don't want to do it. So what I did for the technique is I used some white acrylic paint. You could also use white gesso. You could also just use regular white paint if you have it. You may be able to use white ink if you have that. But I took my dauber and I just went and daubed all the way around my pattern piece that I was using here. And you can see it gives like this snowy effect. And in fact, you can see it better on this side. I did this once before in one of my classes. So if you took that course, you're familiar with this technique. But I just thought this was the perfect album to do this in. And if it's a winter wonderland, let's make it one, right? So I wanted to add the snow on there. So I'm going to show you how to do some of these pieces, and then we'll finish with this. Now I already put this down. I was going to test to see if you could even see the white paint on the white pattern paper. I really kind of doubt it. So I don't know if I'll even mess with that, but Okay, so I just had this wax paper on my table, so I'm just going to use that. All I did was take my dauber. You can use a cosmetic sponge. You can use one of those brushes, a sponge brush. I just grabbed this one because I like it. So I kind of put it in the paint. I dab a little on. I get my piece and I just go around and dab the edges. Now I am not making sure that everything is pristine. I'm just doing it as random as I can. So if one place has more than the other, it's okay. I like it. Snow is like that, right? So on the back, you can see that as well. I'm gonna put that over there to dry. I'm so excited about this. And now we're going to do this one. And when the piece is bigger, sometimes I make sure to push a little bit more in on the card. Oh yeah, see, you can see it a little bit on the white. I may have to try and go back and do that one. Can't believe I forgot. I was telling myself, don't forget. But I did anyways. Oh my gosh, I love this. This is just gonna be so cute. Now when this dries, it does dry a little bit lighter. So if you're, again, worried about it, you know, it will be lighter than it is when you're done with it. Like, look at this one, it's already drying. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. I got a big old mess going on. Now the thing is, do I want to do it on this piece? Let's see. I mean, you know what, you guys? You could even actually do the album cover if you wanted to. I don't know if I want to do that, but you could. It could be done. Yeah, I think I need to do it on the, I don't know. What do you think? Do it on the pink or no? Is that too much? I don't know. Let's do it. Oh, it'll go through on the back anyways. Okay, I'm going for it. I'm going for it. You see how I'm just kind of being random about it? That's what I like about this bulbous one, is that I'm kind of pouncing, right? Just pouncing it on there. And when they don't match up too much, then I kind of go back and do some more. Just so that if this size has some pieces that are larger and into the paper, then I want to have some on this side as well. If that makes sense. See how this one went more in on the paper and I didn't have that many. They were all kind of on the edge. Well, then I want to make sure to go back, yeah, like that. Just so that it's a little bit even, but that's me. I'm a little OCD like that. Oh my goodness. So I'm really braving it here. These things are totally wet. So how will this look? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know if you really needed to do the second one, but look how snowy that looks. Oh, it's so fun. Yeah, making a mess, making a mess. So yeah, I'm just pouncing this one on the inside for the most part, since I forgot to do it before. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that a little bit and we'll call that done. Yeah. Before I make it a mess that I don't want, right? While those are drying, I'm going to go ahead and do the pieces that I'm using for the inside front cover. I chose 2 of the 4x6 journal cards. And I'm going to go ahead and do my pouncing. That way these can be drying while we're finishing up the back inside cover. And these are the cover pieces. I'll film these with you, and then the rest I'll do off camera. I thought it would look really great on this one with the snowflakes. I love this paper. This has got to be my favorite out of the whole collection. See how cool that is? I love it. It just so looks like snow. Yep. Love it. Yeah, I'm not sure we really need to do these pieces, but you know. I'm in a penny in a pound, right? Who says that? Ooh, lots there. And I know I have the white shimmer paper under there, but this does something different, I think. Yeah, that looks good. I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm back. These are dried, and I did do some of the white paint on here on the inside, just the 4 corners. And you can see it a little bit, just makes it a little frosty, right? Now, in my excitement, I did get a gob of paint right there and didn't know it until it was too late. It's already dry. It's all good. I'm going to go ahead and go forward with laying down the rest of my pattern pieces. Oh, look, I still got paint on myself even though I washed my hands. That figures. So like I said, if you want to do the snow effect, the faux snow, right? I say go for it. Something different. But if not, that's okay too. Either way, it's going to look fabulous. It does take you a moment to make sure you have it all centered because the edges have that effect on it. So keep that in mind too. It's just going to take you a minute to figure that out. I finished up adding all the mats to this, and then I of course realized I forgot to put my Glimmer mat underneath the 4x6 journaling card. Of course, I had to forget one, right? It's because I got too much going on at one time. So then I cut a piece to go on the inside here, and while I was waiting for that to dry, I added stickers to the outside here. That was part of the collection. And now I'm just going to add my pattern paper here, even though it's solid. To hide my magnets. I am not using a matting piece inside here because it's already pretty full. Once you add photos, you know, I think we could have probably done maybe 1/4 of an inch here instead of 1/8, because it's pretty full. So whatever you want, you can modify that if you like. Now on the back side, we're going to adhere this to our inside cover. You can add adhesive on 3 sides, making this a pocket, or you could just glue the whole thing down, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to give my best guesstimate here on placement. And put her down. Pretty good. Probably best to open this up to burnish. Now, if you want, you could mat the inside of this as well before putting down your photos, but I'm leaving it without matting so that you could just add your photos and that there's still plenty of room. I don't want to fill this up with so many mats that you can't put your photos in there, or that you end up with buckling. Nobody wants that. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. Before we do the inside front cover, I think I'm going to flip this over and actually do the outside cover. I want to make sure I have a nice flat surface to do the front cover. Okay, I'm going to go over all of the materials and the sizes of everything. For the matting cardstock, you're going to need 2 pieces of 6 7/8 by 8 7/8. And remember, that's optional. These will go down first. You'll need 1 piece of cardstock that is 6 3/4 by 8 3/4. That will go on top. For the back, you'll need 1 piece of the solid cardstock that's, I don't know if it's included in the collection or if Tamara just sent it to me extra. So I'm sorry, I don't know, but I did get these solids that went along with this collection. 6 3/4 by 5 1/2. That's going to go down here. And then the top piece is 6 3/4 by 3 3/8. That's going to go underneath. Wait a minute. No. This is going to go down here. This is going to go up here. I'm going to make a little pocket. And I did cut this sticker. It's a border strip, part of the 12 by 12 sticker sheet that's included in the collection, down to 6 3/4 to go along the top here. Now that was before I did the faux snow, so we may not need that. I don't know. For the spine, you'll need one matting piece that is 2 by 8 7/8. Remember, that's optional. So whenever I say matting, it's optional. And then the, quote, pattern paper is 1 7/8 by 8 3/4. That will go there. And for that, I'm using these 2 stickers from the 12 by 12 sticker sheet. I just think these are going to be super cute. Let's go back to the front. Let me show you some of the elements I'm using. So if you watched my haul, then you would know everything that I have for this collection. Here's the 12 by 12 sticker sheet. And then I also received the chipboard accents. So I've been using these as well. And I got the enamel dots. I'll probably be adding those at the end. So I am using from the chipboard pieces this little snowman and these 2 little flags. Are these flags or banners? I don't know. I always get confused on those. And then I'm using from the 12 by 12 sticker sheet these 2 flowers. Now you will need 3 pieces of matting cardstock, and you will need these, so this is not optional. If you're following along the way I created it, that is. And these measure 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. And then you'll need to cut down or cut out 3 of the 4 by 4 journal cards. 2 of them I'm turning over so that I can use the beautiful floral that they put on the back of this, which is bonkers. I use the Let's Stay Home and the 'Tis the Season. I mean, the font's nice, but I'm not crazy about those. So I thought it would be perfect to use the other side. Yeah, I didn't trim these down anymore. They're still 4 by 4. And then the Hello Winter, I thought that would be perfect as an album cover. These are going to get matted onto the shimmer paper. And then I'm going to kind of stagger these like this. Something like this. Something like that is the vision. And putting that there. I want you to be able to get the full effect here. This little snowman is going to go down here. I'm going to put a floral piece up here, one down here. And these little guys are going to go up here. Probably like this, I think. Something like that. Or maybe like this. So that's the front cover. And like I mentioned, this will be down here. This will be up here. I don't know. What do you think about this piece? Do we need it? Maybe I'll do a little pouncing on the sticker. Or put it slightly below. Oh, yeah, I could do that. Let's just do that together. So what I put these on was just wax paper, since I already knew what I wanted to use. I was just trying to map things out. I'll probably just add some more adhesive just to make sure that they'll stick. So I'm going to put this on this piece, but slightly below the top so that that snow effect shows through. I think that might be kind of neat. So that's how everything's going to go. Okay, so we want to figure out where we want to put it. So I'm probably going down about a ½ an inch. Well, looks like 3/8 of an inch to ½ an inch. I'm just going to do it till I like it, I guess. So I'm going to only add adhesive to like 1/4 of this, not all the way around. Again, I'm just guessing. How's that? So I'm adding that at a ½ an inch in from the top, ½ an inch in from the side. And now we'll take this one and line it up after I figure out which side I like best. And then just kind of mark it with your fingers and then add your adhesive. And again, I'm going to try to go about ½ an inch in from the side if we're going to be exact. Just kind of guessing here. I'm going to let that work for me. And just burnish that down really good. These in the center will be up. They won't get glued down. And now we add on our goodies. Just love this little snowman. He's so cute. Okay, so that is our completed cover. I did add a few more stickers over here to the back side. Probably put a tag in there later. But that's the cover. Now we're going to move to the inside front cover and work on that. To get us started, I'm laying down my matte cardstock here. Okay, I thought I gave you the measurement for this. It's the same as the back side. 6 7/8 by 8 7/8. The next thing you're going to need is to cut 2 pieces of cardstock that measure 6 7/8 by 8 3/4. You're going to place this in your scoreboard, and you're going to score down the center, and that will be at 4 3/8. So you should have 2 of these. You're also going to need 2 cardstocks that measure 6 7/8 by 9 1/4. You're going to put this in your scoreboard or score it on the with the long side across the top at 1/2 inch, and then at 4 7/8. Okay, and this was scored on the long side as well. I don't think I said that. So 2 and 2. You'll need 2 pieces of color cardstock that measure 6 5/8 by 4 1/4. You'll need 2 pieces of the shimmer cardstock or your matte cardstock that is 6 1/8 by 4 1/8. And remember, this is only if you're using a matting cardstock. Otherwise, you would just do the pink and the top, which is a 6 by 4 journal card. These are all going to get layered on top of each other. So 2 of those. So here's the ones that I chose. I have my pink, my Glimmer paper, and then this one. Okay. I'm going to set this aside a moment so that we can get these prepared. So with our cardstock, with our black cardstock, let's just go ahead and fold and burnish on the score lines. I've already done 1 set of mine, but you would do both of yours, all 4 of yours. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to create is a zigzag pull out. So you'll need one that doesn't have the 1/2 inch hinge, and then one that does have the 1/2 inch hinge, right? One with, one without. And we're going to attach these 2. So add adhesive to the inside of your hinge. Then you take the one that doesn't have a hinge, open this back up, align this up to the score line, but don't go over. Make sure all your sides are lined up. You can always fold to make sure that it's still working properly. And when you're sure, go ahead and burnish that down. So now that we pre-folded this, we need to actually fold this the way that we want it. So this one is going to be on the bottom. We're going to have two. We're going to have two stacks. They're going to be facing like this. One will open this way. One will open this way, right? So for this one, we need our base piece here. We need to have one come down. And so this, we need to flip toward us and then give that a crease. So then when we add this on top, we have this nice pull out. Which, while we're here, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and add all of these on to each other first. Okay, so we have our next two pieces, the one with no hinge, the one with the hinge. Go ahead and add your adhesive on the inside of your 1/2 inch hinge. We're going to once again line these two pieces up, just open that up. Right up to the score line, but don't go over, making sure the edges are all aligned. Now this one is going in this direction. This one will be in this direction. So we just want to make sure that you put these on the way that you want them to look when you're done. So I'm going to put mine on this way. Now I still have mine in the other direction, just to continue to make sure I'm putting this down the way that I want it to look. So just be mindful of the direction is all I'm really trying to tell you. And that looks good. Now we're going to bring in our cover. We're going to start by adding our first one here. I'm going to start with the top. Try not to get my head in this, but I do need to see over it. So let's see, how did I make this? Okay. So I made it to where there will be, you know, that little bit of a border around it. So you just add adhesive to the very bottom of this little Z-fold pull-out or accordion pull-out, whichever you want to call it. Now, again, when you go to put this down, make sure that the crease or the score line, the fold, make sure that the fold is toward you, not that way, okay? Now I really can't see over this too well. Okay, here we go. I gotta. So we have that way, and then we have this way. Okay. Hold the boat, you guys. Hold the boat. Okay. I forgot about putting in our closure. So I'm going to set that aside, and we can work on this now. Okay. For the top part of our closure, you're going to need one piece that measures 1 3/4. Sorry, my son is loud. By 7 5/8. You're going to score at a 1/2 inch and then score at 5/8 of an inch. Okay. So you'll have, or did I only folded it there. Oh yeah, because, okay. Okay. Then burnish those. Burnish those score lines. Yeah, that should work. Okay. To decorate this, you're going to need 2 pieces if you're doing the matting that measure 1 5/8 by 6 7/8, one for the front, one for the back. And then you'll need 2 pieces of pattern paper that measure 1 1/2 by 6 3/4. Again, one for the front, one for the back. That's the top piece. The bottom part of our sliding closure, you'll need 1 piece of cardstock that measures 1 3/4 by 3 5/8. You're going to score this at a 1/2 inch and 5/8. Let's go ahead and fold and burnish on those score lines. I've got glue all over me. And all over everything else. Okay. You'll need 2 pieces of the matte cardstock, 1 5/8 by 2 7/8. One for the front, one for the back, and then 2 pieces of pattern paper that measure 1 1/2 by 2 3/4. You'll also need an additional piece of cardstock, and this will measure 4 inches by 1. On the long side, I scored this a couple times because we want this to wrap around our band, right? This is kind of like a belly band. It's just split in 2. And we want this band piece to wrap around it. You want to wrap it around to where it's snug, but that it still moves freely between the 2 pieces once they're connected like that. They'll just be overlapping each other. So I put in several different score lines. Let's see what I did. I scored at, let me see. I think it's easier to just wrap it around the band. So scored at 1 1/8. 2 7/8. Yeah, and then I went out from there. And then I kind of backtracked. So I did 1 1/8, I did 1 and even 7/8 because I wasn't sure at the time. And I even kind of moved my piece over to where the score line that I made on the 1/8, 1 1/8, I moved it over to where it was in the middle of 2 of the areas where you would score, and then I made a score there. And then I went over again at 1 and made another score. Just because I really didn't know exactly what I would need. So once you move it over, you can go down and do that again on the other end, okay? So again, I would take it, wrap it around loosely, and then I would go and make additional score lines in it so that you have some wiggle room. You want to be able to get over these 2 pieces, and once we mat them, it's going to be pretty thick. So if you don't want to mat both sides of this, you don't have to. I just decided to do that. But just keep that in mind. You're going to need a couple score marks on that one. I know that wasn't really great instructions on how to do this, but I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to go ahead and start gluing all these pieces together. Now, I don't know if these triangles are supposed to go down or up. I just did them the way that I like them. And I like them going upward. I did the same thing with another pattern piece. Now for the band, what I want to do also is to add on this adorable little polar bear. And I cut the piece so that it would just fit right in there and you wouldn't see it at all. So I'm going to go ahead and glue him on. And now I'm going to wrap him around here. Again, I want to make sure he moves real easily. I'm going to put these 2 together and see how they move across here. Yeah, it gets really tight right there. Make sure you score and burnish those extra score lines. I really think you're going to need them. Okay. And there should be just a little bit of an overlap. And I hope this works. So just wrap this around and connect the 2. Let's see. Yeah, it's just a little bit. You know what? I think I'm just going to add, because this will be loose up here, but when you get to this point, you need it to be able to go over both pieces. So that's the important part. Even though it can be loose up here, you need it to go over both because that's part of the closure. So I think I might just get another piece of black cardstock and just, because mine are like a kiss cut, you see how little they're overlapped because I did the extra score lines there. So that's how I'm going to manage that. All right, so we're going to just stick that right in there. Now, I could have probably lifted that whole thing up, but I didn't want to. So I'm going to put some adhesive on both sides of this hinge. You add this in here, and you want to get that centered as much as you can. So once you have it in there, don't go past the score line because you still need that gusset that we created. And then burnish that down. Okay. Now we can come down here. Let's take our bottom piece. For this one, this is how you would normally do it. Just add adhesive to the back side of your hinge. And we're going to align that with this one. Yep, that looks good. And then burnish that down. That's how easy it should be. Do as I tell you, not as I do. Right? Our parents used to say that all the time, right? Did they? I don't know. Okay, we can flip this back up. And now we're going to put this piece down. When these go down, you're going to kind of butt up these two pieces next to each other. Make sure you don't overlap them. That's how it should work. So I'm going to open this up so I don't mess that up. And then I'm just going to lay that down in there, right up against it. And everything should line up nice and smooth. Now these, you're going to put the short one in the back, the longer one on top. Let's get our little polar bear here. You can thread him through the top one. And then bring him down over the small one. And look how stinking cute that is. Adorbs. To pretty up the back side, I cut out a piece of cardstock, of the color cardstock that's 1 5/8 by 7/8. And then that way it'll look pretty. I didn't want to cover too much of my edges because I need them to be free to work how they want to work. Okay, super cute. Now, you know I didn't mat these. I don't think I'm going to. I want them to be ready just for photos. So that's how I'm going to leave them. But you certainly could mat them if you wanted to. All right, that is so adorbs. Okay. We're ready for the pages. Woo woo! Let's set this aside. Okay, now we're working on our pages. This is the first page. I'm not quite sure which is the best way for me to do this because this is a lot of gluing. And quite frankly, I don't like to show a lot of gluing. I think it just gets boring after a while. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do everything, especially now since I'm matting everything. Why did I come up with that idea? I don't know. But I do want to show you certain pieces as I go along because we did the base construction, but there were some things that we had to wait to do till we had the pattern paper, right? So I'm going to try and speed things up, but also tell you about the important parts along the way. One of those is when we first created this was a long flat piece. And what I decided to do was to make a cut here where these two came together at the score line. And I think I cut down 1 inch. Yeah. So you want to cut down 1 inch and then you want to score at 1 inch. So you would take this, put it in your scoreboard like this, line it up to where you have 1 inch and then score. Fold and burnish that. So if you line it up this way, it'll be right at the 7.5. Okay, if that's helpful. Fold and burnish. For the front of our pocket, the matting piece is 4 5/8, 3 3/8. The pattern paper is 4.5 by 3 1/4. These are going to be glued and put on there. Just like I kind of been doing, matting them together. I'm going to fold this down a moment. For the back of our pocket, this piece right here, you're going to need, if you're matting, double matting, 4 5/8 by 4. That will go down first at the top. Remember to put your border around that. And, you know, the border is about 1/16 of an inch. Your pattern paper will be 4.5 by 3 7/8. This will get glued on to that, and then those will get glued on together. Let's go ahead and do that before we move on. For our pocket, we can go ahead and add adhesive to the 2 sides. And fold that over and down. Burnish that really good. I guess I'll go ahead and put these on. I just don't know. I was trying to save some time for you guys, having to watch all the gluing. Guess I could try to cut some out, but it seems silly. That's a lot of work for me. For the inside of our little flap here, you'll need a piece of matting. You'll need 2 of those, one for the inside, one for the outside. And these measure 4 5/8, 7/8. So back on the little hinge here, you're going to need 2 pieces of pattern paper. And these measure 4.5 by 3/4. You can go ahead and glue those down. Now that we have this matted, we're going to create a shaker closure, kind of. I'm going to use the Waffle Flowers shaker covers. These are 3.5 inches squared. They come with the perforations already, or pre-scored, if you will. So all you have to do is fold them and burnish. Before we do that, though, there is a note here that says to remove the protective film, which I don't know what's, oh, here it is. Okay, there we go. We got it. So here is the piece that I'm putting in there. This is a 4x4 cut down to 3.5 by 3.5. This is going to go in face down. And then what I want to do is add adhesive tape to the bottom hinge here, and probably the two sides while we're there. I think they used to have these come pre-taped, but I don't know why they stopped. That would have been nice to have it all done for us. Now, if you prefer to use wet adhesive, by all means, do you. I don't, not with acetate, because then you end up with wet glue all over the places you don't want it to be, or at least I do. I'm gonna go ahead and put my tape on the top one as well, since I'm doing it, and then I'll be ready when the time comes. Okay, and I just used 3/8 inch score tape. I picked this up from Country Craft Creations. They always have the best buy for score tape. Or at least that's what I found at the time I was buying it. No, don't say that. Okay. Line up your pattern paper in the center of this piece where you want it. And I'm doing it to where there is space, you know, between the pattern paper and where my hinge is, right? Yep. And then we'll remove our adhesive tape, and we can go ahead and put that down on top of it. And we're going to do the same with the sides. This is probably one of the easier ways to make a shaker. Now I'm making sure to keep my pattern paper flat. It wants to pop up a little bit, but I want it to stay flat. Make sure you pre-score the sides, because the hinges, because it just makes it so much better. So I notice when we fold this over, it doesn't cover the entire edge here. If you can see that right there. So you want to be careful about putting little bits in there. Wonder why they did that. I don't know. I'm going to be using this. This is from Buttons Galore and More, Snowfall. I got that in my design team package as well. Now there aren't too many small bits in here, so I think it'll be okay. But just so that you are aware. I'm going to go ahead and Now we can kind of open that up and pour in our bits. Look how stinking cute. Oh my goodness, now it's stuck to me. Oh wow, they've got like real pearls in there. Holy moly. I can't have that. That'll be too round. Oh my gosh, and these gorgeous little diamond things. I need this to be semi-flat. Oh, and look at these, you guys. Okay, I'm getting all sidetracked. Look at that. It's a snowflake. Can you see? It's so tiny. It actually has the imprint of a snowflake on there, like in pink. Super cute. Why is there a blue piece? That's hilarious. We don't want that little puppy in there. That must have been left over from another run. Okay. Ugh, another big one. Oh, uh-oh. Gotta get these bulbous things out of here. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, I think that's good. I'll put these back in there. Look at that one. There's all kinds of goodies in this little thing. Oh my goodness. And you get quite a bit. Holy moly. Look, I still got half a package. And look how much is in there. Okay, these are worth buying. And look at those big pearls. I mean, I like them. I just don't want them for this project because it won't work. They're just too bulbous. All right. So I'm happy with that. And as you can see, they're not coming out. Just to show you that. I'm going to lay this flat here at the top and put this down over and burnish. I liked having this as a shaker because it says let it snow. So like, how fun is that? Love it. All right, I got one of these static snowflakes over here. Now we're going to need a set of magnets, so go ahead and get those out. Got to clean up the spot here a moment. Got too much going on. We're going to add this onto a matting piece, and then we're going to mat from there. So, let's see, how do I have this? What is this? Oh, that's for the other side. Got it. Okay. So you'll need one piece of matting that is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. That will go behind this. Then you'll need one piece of pattern paper that is 4 by 4 and another piece of matte cardstock that's 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. These will go on top of each other, and then this will all go on top of each other. See, what happened is I cut this first to be my closure, and then I wanted to use the shaker. So I thought, well, just put it on top. For the back side, want to make that pretty too, right? So I see I didn't do glitter cardstock, and I didn't snow it. That is about 4 by 4. I just used the solid cardstock from the collection, added a little sticker on there. Now let's do, all right, I'm gonna put these on first, and I think instead of using what adhesive, I'm going to use tape. I wanna make sure this stays on. And we'll take this and add it to our pattern paper. Which way do I want that to look? That way. Oop, that way. Okay, and then this goes on top of this. So I'm just going to add adhesive about 1/4 of an inch. Close this. Get that lined up. So it's about 1/4 of an inch here on each side, and then about 3/8 of an inch. I'm just gonna sneak my little magnet in there. Whoop. It went way too far. There we go. So let's see, it's here. Oh yeah, I think that'll work. No, it won't. Gotta move it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna add my magnet in here. Not gonna go down too far. Let's see. I mean, that's going to be right on the edge. If I can get it to go down just a little bit. No matter what, it's right on the edge. It has to be that way though. Okay. So to cover the back, I recut this piece. It is now 4 by 3 5/8. I'm going to take it all the way to the edge to cover the magnet. So then really all that's showing is just a little bit. Okay, so there is our shaker piece. That's cute. Okay, now we're ready to move to the inside of this page. And what I've done is gone ahead and glued my two pieces together. So if it had a mat, I went ahead and glued that onto the pattern paper. For this area, you'll need the mat that measures 4 5/8 by 7 3/8, and then the pattern paper is 4 1/2 by 7 1/4. This is going to get glued down here. For this pocket area here, you'll need a mat that measures 6 1/8 by 4 1/8, and then the mat is actually the back of one of the 6 by 4 journal cards. I just wanted to use this side. Wait a minute, that goes on the inside. But you'll need the same measurements for the top. So the mat was 6 1/8 by 4 1/8, and then we have a 6 by 4 journal card that will go here in this area. Okay, so glue those down and that down. For the back of our pocket, I'm telling you, I've got glue everywhere. It's disgusting. Ugh. My hands are full of it. Okay. We want to put the back of our pocket down first. This measures, the mat is 6 3/8 by 5 3/8. The pattern paper is 6 1/4 by 5 1/4. I will put this one down. Now for our pocket front, you could do this two ways. Originally, I was going to glue it on the sides and down the middle and make two individual pockets. But I've since decided I don't think I'm going to do that, because if I do need this flap to be kept closed, if this isn't enough to hold it closed, I want to be able to put something in there that can do that. And if you have this split, you really won't be able to do that as much. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down on both sides, just so that I'm sure and I have that option available to me. And then this piece will go on top. The mat measures 6 3/8 by 3 3/8. The pattern paper measures 6 1/4 by 3 1/4. I guess you can see the pattern that's happening there. Now when we flip this up, I've already given you the measurements for these two, but what I wanted to do is have like a little surprise in here. So I took this from the cut apart sheet that had all the different sizes of tags and journal cards, and I cut this one down to be 5 7/8 by 2. And I'm going to make this a little pocket up here at the top, so that when you flip this open, how cute is that? A little secret message. So I'm going to glue this down on 3 sides, making it that pocket. And I'm just really going to guess about where to put it. You don't want it to go beyond, like fold this down, put a little marker there. You don't want it to go beyond that. So I'm going to put it maybe a 1/2 inch up from that. Yeah, I just think that's cute. Wake me up. That is so me. Wake me up when winter's over. No, actually, I love winter. And here's the adorable little tags I created to go in here. Aren't these stinking cute? OMG. So These are 2x2s from the journaling card page with all the different sizes, I believe. And what I did for the ribbon, I had previously gotten the 49 and Market lacy trims from Country Craft Creations. I don't know if this is something she always carries or if it was just a one-off, but that's where I got them. I really like the lace. It kind of looks like snow, right? Okay, so these are 2x2s, and then I used the lacy trim. I also used the Heartfelt Creations album tags and accent dies that I got from Country Craft Creations. I used this one. Okay. What I did was I took my 2x2, I lined it up. Let me get a 2x2 so you know. Is this even 2x2? Yeah, puppy. So I took my 2x2 and I lined it up to where the bottom of the 2x2 journal card would be across this area here. I was trying to find a straight, flat area. I didn't want all this. So right here at the tips. So here's my 2x2. I went all the way down like this. And then I ran it through the die cut. And when I did, the results were a slightly rounded corner on each side, but a nice flat bottom. I'm loving that look. So then I took this, I cut out 2 of these using the white Glimmer cardstock, and then I just cut off one end right where I put the bottom of the 2x2. So then I got rid of all this down here, right? So like this, I cut all that off. And that's how I ended up with these adorable little tags. These are so cute. Get in there, little buddy. Love them. So it's handy to go back into your stash, your Country Craft Creations stash, and pull out the goods. Now, to save time, I am going to glue these pieces down later. You know where they go. There's nothing special about them. They just get glued down. I am not going to use a magnet. Do you think we should? To keep these 2 pieces together. It'll be up like this. When you open it, it'll be laying flat like that. Do you guys think we need one? I wish you were here so you could tell me. So that's your call. If you want to, I would suggest adding your magnet under here and under here if you want one to keep that closed. Okay, now we're ready to work on the back side of page 1. So we're on page 2. I'm going to leave this folded open because I don't want to scratch up the top of my shaker. So for this page, I think I had you already cut these, but I'm not certain. So I'm going to go ahead and give them to you just to make sure. You'll need 1 piece of cardstock that is 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. You're going to score at a 1/2 inch on the short side. You'll need 1 piece of cardstock that measures 6 3/4 by 4 1/4. And you're going to score this one at 3/8 and a 1/2 inch on the long side. Fold and burnish. And I think I did that to give it some wiggle room. So we have an 1/8 inch gusset there. Okay, so now let's bring in our base decorative pieces. The mat for this is 6 3/8 by 8 3/8. The pattern paper is 6 1/4 by 8 1/4. So we're going to take the piece that has the hinge on the left-hand side. We're going to add adhesive to the inside. We have a 3/8 inch hinge. We're going to put that on the back of the two pieces. Just center that wherever you want it. Let's see. I have it about 1 7/8, and then the bottom is 2 1/8. I think I'll change that a little bit to make it a little bit lower. You want to add these two pieces together up to the score line, but don't go over. That's like my favorite phrase to say, right? It's a little over 2 2 inches. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay. Now we can go ahead and add this to the base page. For the one with the hinge at the top, we're going to add on the front of that, we have a mat and a journal card. The mat is 6 1/8 by 4 1/8. The journal card is 6 by 4. So let's go ahead and add that. Okay, now we're going to take the piece that we just put everything on and add adhesive to the inside of that hinge. We're going to glue this flap onto it. So we're going to line these up to the score line, but don't go over. And I would fold that over just to make sure everything is still working properly. Make sure the edges are lined up. Nothing's going over. Just scoot this out to flatten out the gusset. Then you can burnish it really good. I think I forgot my magnet again. You guys are gonna kill me. Holy moly molies. Okay, I'm gonna add a magnet to the back side. And it'll probably be easier to do it this way since I've already put that down. Oy, oy, oy. Okay, here we go again. Well, if anything, you guys will learn how to put your magnets in once you added your pattern paper. Oh my goodness. We're going to end up needing a third magnet, I think. Okay. On the back of that, you're going to need your matting piece that measures 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I used colored cardstock that was part of the collection 6 by 4. I wanted to use one of the journal cards. You can put it here or here. I'm going to turn it into a pocket so I can go that way or that way. The mat piece is 3 1/8 by 4 1/8, and then you have your 3 by 4 journal card. we're going to take this and you're going to glue it on 3 sides, whichever side you're going to use. Okay? And it should match up with the piece we just put down. It makes it very thick because I double matted everything there. Oh no. Let's see. Oh no, that still works. Okay. So photo. This flips over. Look at how that looks neat. Okay, this flips over. We have a nice little pocket here. And then this piece is going to come over here. It's like a hidden belly band. This measures 6 3/8 by 3 7/8 for the mat. The pattern paper is 6 1/4 by 3 3/4. Okay. So just take this, you're going to center it between this piece and glue it on 2 sides. Now, I once again forgot about a magnet for this part of it. Don't hate me, you guys. Don't hate me. Which way? Do I want it this way or this way? Just put it right on top of the other mat that's already there and just kind of center that. Just do it to where it's hidden. I mean, that's the point. It's a hidden belly band. Okay, so I finally got that fixed. So now we can put a long tag in here, a tag over here, and we have our magnetic closure and our magnetic closure. So that is the first and second page. Well, that's it for today, everyone. I'm going to stop here and I'll do another video that will conclude with pages 2 and 3 and putting the whole album together. I'll see you then.